If you clicked on this video, you already know why you're here. There's someone, and it's not casual. It's not simple, and you need to understand what's happening. Whether you're a Scorpio lying awake at 1 in the morning trying to make sense of feelings that came on too fast and too strong, or you're analyzing every text from the Scorpio in your life, wondering if you're reading into things that aren't there, either way, you're in the right place. I know something about you. If you're a Scorpio, you've already studied this person more than they'll ever know. You remember details they've forgotten they told you. You've replayed conversations looking for meaning, and the whole time, on the outside, you've been acting like it's no big deal, like you're not already in deep. And if you're trying to understand a Scorpio, you've been confused. One moment, they're right there, looking at you like you're the only person in the room. The next moment, they've pulled back, and you can't tell if you did something wrong or if you imagined the whole thing. You didn't imagine it. There's a reason this video found you tonight. Something is happening, something real, and you need to understand it. What I'm about to share with you are the 5 unmistakable things a Scorpio does when they're falling for someone. Not surface-level stereotypes. The real signs. The ones even the most guarded Scorpio can't fully hide. 5 phrases in a language most people never learn to speak. But before I give you these 5 signs, I need you to understand something first. Because once you know what it actually feels like to be a Scorpio in the middle of a crush, everything else will make sense. Here's something I need you to understand before we go any further. Scorpio doesn't love the way most people love. They don't love in words you can hear across a room. They don't love in grand gestures everyone can see. Scorpio loves in a language of silence, a language of stillness, a language of actions so subtle, so private, that most people miss them entirely. And here's the tragedy of loving a Scorpio, or being one. They've never struggled to express their feelings. They've been expressing them all along. You just weren't taught how to listen. If you're a Scorpio, you know that moment. Someone walks into the room, or says something, or looks at you a certain way, and suddenly everything shifts. You don't choose it. It just claims you. And from that moment forward, you can't stop thinking about them. You notice every detail. You remember every word. You track their mood like weather patterns you need to survive. And the whole time, on the outside, you're acting completely normal, maybe even aloof, because God forbid anyone sees how much you're already feeling. I know about the late nights, the scrolling through their social media at 1 in the morning, not because you're obsessive, but because you're trying to understand them, to piece together who they really are. You're not stalking, you're studying. There's a difference. You need to know if this person is real, if they're safe, if they're worth what you already know you're willing to give. I know about the way your chest tightens when their name appears on your screen, that split second where you forget to breathe. And then you act normal. You wait before responding. You draft the text and delete it. Draft it again. Measure your words. Because showing how much you care feels like handing someone a weapon. And I know about the rehearsing, the conversations you've had with them in your head that they'll never know about. You've already figured out what you'd say if they asked you certain questions. You've already imagined how you'd respond if they finally made a move. You've played out scenarios, good ones and bad ones, because you need to be prepared. Because being caught off guard with feelings this big feels dangerous. And here's the part that keeps you up at night. You're afraid that if you let them see how much you already feel, they'll leave. They'll decide it's too much. So you perform casual, like your life depends on it, even though nothing inside you has ever been casual about anything that matters. Here's the part no one talks about. Underneath all that intensity, there's fear, real fear. Because Scorpio knows something that most people don't learn until they've been shattered. When you fall completely. There's no half measure, there's no casual, There's no protecting yourself once you're in. And that kind of vulnerability, it's terrifying. So you protect yourself, you test, you watch, you hold back even when everything in you wants to dive in completely. If you've ever felt like you're too much, like the way you experience a crush is somehow wrong or excessive or exhausting, I need you to hear me. You're not too much. You're not broken. This is how you're built to love. Completely or not at all. And there's nothing wrong with that. Now let me tell you why. Because when you understand the cosmic forces that shaped Scorpio, suddenly everything makes sense. Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, the planet of transformation, of depth, of obsession and power. When Pluto touches something, it doesn't skim the surface. It goes all the way down to the bottom, to the bones, to the truth underneath everything. That's why Scorpio can't do casual. Pluto doesn't know how. And there's Mars in there too, the warrior planet, passion and pursuit and protective fire. When Scorpio cares about someone, Mars activates, not necessarily in obvious ways, but in this fierce, quiet readiness to fight for what they want, to protect what they love, even if no one else can see it. And Scorpio is fixed water. Think about that for a moment. Not rushing water, not tidal water that comes and goes, fixed, still on the surface, but underneath, depth you can't even imagine. Currents that never stop, feelings that don't evaporate or fade, they just stay and build and deepen. This is why Scorpio feels like this. This is why a crush isn't just a crush for you, it's a consuming force. It's Pluto demanding to know everything. It's Mars ready to go to war. It's fixed water that won't let go. And now I want to give you the first two things Scorpio does when they have a crush. And I want you to understand them as what they really are. Not confusing behavior, not games, but Scorpio speaking in their silent language. The first two phrases. This is the first thing. A Scorpio studies you. When Scorpio is falling for someone, they become a silent observer. They notice details about you that you haven't noticed about yourself. Your habits, your contradictions, the way your face changes when you're uncomfortable versus when you're actually fine. They're watching, always. This is Pluto at work, the need to know you completely before deciding if it's safe to proceed. Scorpio isn't just attracted to you, they're trying to understand you at a soul level. And here's how it looks in real life. They remember something you mentioned once, weeks ago, that you forgot you even said. They notice when your mood shifts before you've said a word. They ask questions that feel surprisingly perceptive, almost like they already know the answer and they're just checking. They're paying attention when you don't think anyone is. This is Scorpio's highest form of respect. Their way of saying, I'm taking you seriously. Not just the surface version of you, all of you. If you're a Scorpio, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The file you build on someone in your head, the catalog of everything you've observed, the way you could probably describe them better than they could describe themselves. And if you're trying to understand a Scorpio in the middle of a crush, if they remember the little things about you, if they seem to know things you never told them, it means they've been paying attention. And Scorpio only pays attention to what matters. This is the second thing. A Scorpio tests you. This one is hard for people to understand. And I need you to stay with me here, because this is where Scorpio gets misread. When Scorpio is falling for someone, they will test that person's loyalty, their depth, their trustworthiness, often without the other person even realizing they're being tested. This is Mars and Pluto working together. Protection through assessment. Scorpio has been hurt before. They've trusted people who didn't deserve it. They've let someone in only to have that person use their vulnerability against them. They're not going to make that mistake again. So they test. And here's what it looks like. Sharing something small but personal to see if you keep it private. Pulling back slightly to see if you pursue them or just give up. creating small situations where you could betray their trust but hoping desperately that you won't. Watching how you treat other people, how you handle conflict, whether you're consistent or whether you change, depending on who you're with. If you're a Scorpio, you probably don't even realize you do this. It's instinct, self-preservation dressed up as detachment. You're not playing games, you're protecting yourself. You're making sure that if you hand over your heart, it won't be handed back to you in pieces. And if you're trying to understand a Scorpio in the middle of a crush, if they seem hot and cold, if they pull back right when things are getting closer, don't panic. They're not losing interest, they're testing, they're watching to see what you do when they're not making it easy. Pass those tests, and you don't pass by being perfect, you pass by being consistent and real, and you unlock something extraordinary. You unlock a loyalty unlike anything else. Now, stay with me, because this is where it shifts. These first two things, the studying, the testing, those are Scorpio in self-protection mode. Still guarded, still watching, still trying to figure out if you're safe. But the next two are what happens when Scorpio starts to believe you might be different. When they start to reveal themselves without ever saying the words, "I like you." This is the third thing. A Scorpio protects you. Even before anything is official, even before a single conversation about feelings has happened, a crushing Scorpio becomes quietly protective. They have your back in ways you might not even notice. This is Mars energy in its most beautiful form. The warrior who doesn't announce the battle, who just shows up again and again, ready to fight for you even when you don't know a fight is happening. Here's how it looks. They defend you when you're not in the room. If someone talks badly about you, Scorpio shuts it down not dramatically, but definitively. They warn you about people they don't trust around you, even if they can't fully explain why. They just have a feeling. And Scorpio's feelings are almost never wrong. They check in when they sense something is off. Maybe they play it casual. Maybe it's just a text that says, "Hey, you good?" But they know. They always know. And here's one that might surprise you. They get visibly bothered when someone disrespects you. Watch their face. Something flashes. A tension in the jaw, a hardening in the eyes. It passes quickly, they're too controlled to let it show for long, but it's there. And if you catch it, you just saw something real. If a Scorpio is protective of you, I need you to understand what that means. It means they've already decided you're theirs. On some level, in some unspoken way. They haven't said it. Maybe they never will say it directly. But their actions are telling you everything. If you've ever had a Scorpio suddenly get fierce about someone who wronged you, taking your side with surprising intensity even when you barely mentioned it, that wasn't just friendship. That wasn't just being a good person. That was Scorpio saying, "You're mine to protect now," without ever using those words. This is the fourth thing. A Scorpio shares their darkness. This is the one that changes everything. This is when Scorpio starts to trust you with the parts of themselves they hide from everyone else. When a Scorpio has a crush that's becoming something more, they'll start letting you see their wounds, their fears, the intensity they usually mask with composure, the thoughts they never say out loud. Pluto rules the underworld, the shadow self, the hidden depths where we keep the things we're afraid of and ashamed of and secretly proud of. When Scorpio shares their darkness with you, they're offering you the most vulnerable thing they have. Here's how it looks. They tell you about past pain, betrayals, the things that shaped them into who they are. They share opinions they normally keep private because they know most people wouldn't understand. They let you see them angry or sad or scared, not just controlled and composed like they are with everyone else. They're honest about their flaws, their fears, the things they're still working on. They invite you into conversations most people avoid, the deep ones, the uncomfortable ones, the ones about death and meaning and what really matters. Most people only ever see Scorpio's surface or their armor. If they're showing you what's underneath, they're auditioning you for something sacred. They're seeing if you can handle all of them, not just the parts that are easy to love. And this is what I need you to understand about Scorpio. So stay with me here. Every single one of these behaviors, the studying, the testing, the protecting, the sharing, this is not confusion. This is not games. This is not Scorpio being difficult or complicated or impossible to read. This is the most honest form of love Scorpio knows how to give before they feel safe enough to call it love. They've been saying, "I'm falling for you" this whole time, in every detail they remembered, in every test they hoped you'd pass, in every moment they defended you, in every wound they let you see. They've been speaking their silent language. You just weren't taught how to hear it. Until now. Now, there's one more. The fifth thing. And honestly, this is the one that gives everything away. It's the tell that even the most controlled Scorpio can't fully hide. This is the fifth thing. A Scorpio chooses you completely. When a Scorpio truly has a crush, you become the only one. Not because they announce exclusivity, not because they ask you to be official, but because their attention, their energy goes nowhere else. It all flows to you. This is fixed water. This is the nature of Scorpio at its core. They don't scatter, they don't dilute, they don't hedge their bets. When they're in, they're all the way in. Half-hearted interest doesn't exist for them. It's not possible. And here's how it looks. They're not interested in other options, even if they could have them. You're the person they want to tell things to. When something happens, good or bad, you're the first one they think of. Their energy is consistently directed at you, even when they're playing it cool. Even when they're acting like this is casual. It's not casual. Not for them. Everyone else is hedging their bets, keeping their options open, swiping while they're sitting across from you at dinner. But Scorpio, when they've decided it's you, there is no backup plan. There's no what if someone better comes along. There's just you. When they're with you, fully present, like you're the only person who exists. Scorpio's singular focus is rare. It's precious. When they have a crush on you, you're not competing with anyone. You've already been chosen. They're just waiting to see if you'll choose them back. If you're a Scorpio watching this and you've recognized yourself in everything I've just said, I need you to hear something. The way you love? It's not too much. I know someone told you that. Maybe more than one someone. I know you've watched people flinch when they saw how deep you go. I know you've learned to hide it, to perform normal, to pretend you feel less than you do. But the way you love is not the problem. It never was. It's rare and it's beautiful, and the right person will feel lucky, not overwhelmed to receive it. You don't need to dim yourself to be acceptable. You don't need to pretend casual when everything inside you is certain. The right person won't need you to explain why you feel everything so deeply. They'll just feel grateful that you feel it for them. You are fluent in the most profound language of love there is. The problem was never that you couldn't express yourself. The problem is that most people aren't listening carefully enough. But the right person will learn your language. They'll hear everything you've been saying, and they won't need you to translate. And if you're watching this trying to understand a Scorpio in your life, I hope you see now what's actually happening beneath their surface. Every guarded look, every moment of pulling back, every intense stare that holds something unspoken. It's not confusion, it's not games. It's someone who loves at a level most people are afraid of, trying to figure out if you're safe to receive it. That's not something to decode, that's something to honor. So if you recognize these 5 things, either in yourself or in someone you're drawn to, what does it mean? What's possible from here? It means something real is happening, something that matters. Scorpio doesn't invest this kind of energy lightly. If they're studying you, testing you, protecting you, sharing their depths with you, choosing you, this isn't a casual crush. This is Scorpio considering you for something significant, something lasting. And when Scorpio love is fully expressed, When they finally feel safe enough to let you all the way in, it's unlike anything else. It's fierce loyalty that never wavers, the kind of person who will have your back when everyone else disappears, the kind of devotion that doesn't fade when things get hard. It's emotional depth that makes you feel truly known, not the surface version of known, but known in the way you've always secretly wanted to be known, someone who sees the parts of you that you hide and loves them anyway, maybe loves them especially. It's a partner who will fight for you, protect you, see all of you, the beautiful parts and the broken parts and everything in between, and they won't flinch, they won't look away, they'll stay. And maybe most beautifully, it's transformation, growing together, becoming more because of what you share. Scorpio love doesn't leave you the same as it found you. It changes you, makes you deeper, more honest, more yourself. When a Scorpio finally lets you in, truly in, you become the most seen person in their world. They'll remember every version of you they've ever met. They'll notice when you're struggling before you've said a word. They'll defend you to anyone. And that intensity that felt confusing during the crush stage, it becomes the safest feeling in the world. Because you realize this person isn't going anywhere. They chose you completely. And they mean it. Now, whether you're the Scorpio navigating these feelings, or you're on the receiving end of them, let me leave you with something that might help. If you're a Scorpio, trust your instincts about this person. You've been studying them for a reason. Your gut is telling you something. Listen to it. Remember this, the right person won't be scared of your intensity. They'll welcome it. They'll feel chosen by it. You don't have to reveal everything at once. You can share yourself in stages. But don't apologize for the depth of what you feel. That depth is your gift. And if you're trying to understand a Scorpio, if you've seen these 5 things, here's what I want you to know. Be consistent. Be real. Don't play games. Scorpio sees through everything. They've been watching you longer than you realize, and they know when something is performance versus when it's true. Be patient with their need to test. It doesn't mean they don't want you. It means they want you so much that they need to know it's safe first. And show them you can be trusted with their depths. When they share something vulnerable, hold it gently. That moment, that's Scorpio handing you a piece of their soul. What you do with it determines everything. The fact that you watched this video to the end, it means this matters to you. Honor that. Something is stirring. Pay attention to it. Before you go, whatever brought you here tonight, whether you're the Scorpio falling or the one watching a Scorpio fall for you, I hope you feel seen. I hope you understand now that this intensity isn't something to fear, it's something to honor. Scorpio doesn't crush lightly. If they're feeling it for you, or if you're feeling it as a Scorpio, trust that it means something. Scorpio love is a language of silence. 5 phrases: the studying, the testing, the protecting, the sharing, the choosing. And now you speak it. Now you can hear what they've been saying all along. It's the loudest love there is. You just had to learn how to listen. Some connections are meant to be felt this deeply. Maybe this is one of them. Take care of your heart. It knows what it's doing. And I'll see you in the next one.